Hello and welcome to Chapter 7, Discussion Questions. So, I'm going to get started because there's a lot. To what extent does your college or university manifest the characteristics of a successful community, and the characteristics being commitment to community, sense of empowerment, sense that one matters to others in the community? I think OU does a pretty good job at this. I feel like my students feel like they matter to somebody, whether that's like someone in the residence hall or someone like me that might be their instructor for a class that semester or their advisor. Like, OU definitely does a good job making sure people feel like they matter here. Sense of empowerment, I think OU does a good job at also giving students a space to be empowered, like the Women's Center for Women or the Multicultural Center for Multicultural Students, and the commitment to community. I think OU's a little 50-50 on this one. There could be more commitment in like ways of giving students a living community, which I talk about later. Number 2, what are my environmental features on your campus most support the experience of community among students? I think res halls, the dynamic classrooms, I feel like OU has, Baker Center, and then the very soft line between campus and off campus. I think all these things play into like the community among students. So like res halls is like everyone they live with. The dynamic classroom, I noticed OU has a lot of like very interactive classrooms versus just like lecture halls, and I think that's really interesting. It helps that community feel of like students all together. Baker Center as a whole is just a very big community-based building, I feel like. And then the line between on campus and off campus, especially around Court Street, is pretty like blurred. There's not a whole lot of like, this is campus, this is not campus, and I think that helps a lot with that. Like, people living off campus still feel like they're part of OU, and I think that helps like that community feel. Number 3, if you were to ask students where on campus they experience a sense of community most, what would they most likely say? Res halls again. I think that's just a big part of like communities on campus is the residence halls and who they live with. For off-campus students, I think that goes a lot to sports teams or clubs and organizations. I think students find a lot of community in those spaces as well. Number 4, what stands out as unique about students' experience at your institution that's different from other colleges or universities? I think the surrounding community of just Athens in general and like this area and region of Southeast Ohio is a very like unique experience for students, especially students that are coming from larger cities or even smaller towns. I think this is a really interesting experience to have as at a college in this like space and place at this time, and I think that's really interesting for students. Another one was, like Athens in general. I don't know much about OU's undergrad experience. I didn't go here for undergrad, so I don't know much about like what's unique to them. Personally for me, I think a lot of it is like, especially for grad school, our classes are very small. We're the same group of students all the time, and I think that's a big part of like what makes this experience different than a lot of grad school's experiences. And then undergrad, I would say maybe just like the spaces OU gives its students to like build those communities and have experiences. Especially like the College of Business is a very like big deal for students, and I think that helps a lot build that like experience for them. Last, what would you recommend to change about the environmental features on your campus to increase experience of community among students? I don't know if OU does live in learning communities. I know Ohio State does, and like my first year residence hall was all first year students, and we like got together for like events and stuff inside our building, so it was just us like for that event. And I think that was a big part of like why I felt so connected to the people in my residence hall, even on different floors or like, you know, everything. I think OU's ADA accessibility features could be a lot better, especially in some buildings that still do not even feel like they're ADA accessible. And then outdoor spaces, I know OU has outdoor spaces. I just don't know where they are, and I don't know if undergrad students know where they are. So I think giving them more spaces outdoors that are like very well known and open. Like, I know we have the new like hammock thing, but it's way back behind like Nelson and way back there, and that's not very accessible for some people, especially people that live over on the other side of campus. And I don't think that's fair that like all those people over there get that and all those people over here don't. So I think giving more like spaces across campus that are outside, not just outside Baker, not just outside Nelson, like actually spread out through campus, I think that would be really helpful in like building the experiences for students on campus. Thank you.